Perspectives this morning is focusing on activities and of Kasubda. We do know that Kasubda is the Kaduna State Urban Planning Development Authority. And of course, they've been in the eye of the storm for quite some time recently. And of course, I know that my listener out there will be ready to throw a lot of questions to the DG who is here with us in the studios. The DG of Kasubda, Ismaila Omar Doko is here with us, and so many questions to ask. But first, let me welcome our guest to the studio, Ismaila Omar Doko. Good morning, glad to have you again in our studios.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure so much.
All right. I'd like to just start with this one. And again, these are questions begging for answers, and answers to come from the appropriate authority. Traders and business people are crying with you that demolishing almost all the markets in Kaduna without putting them back for business activities gives Kaduna people, some concern. So, what are the updates here that we must know about, these demolitions of markets and how soon we can get them going and business to continue to take place?
Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I think I just told you that I take a bike coming down to your place. I have to leave my car along Aliu Makama because I can't make it based on the time we agreed on, simply because the bridge and the road construction had taken a lot of traffic activity around that area, in which I just have to use the second option, take a bike. If not, I'll be there by now. So it's telling us that whenever development is coming in, there are consequences in whatever you are doing. You just can't have it the way you want it. I keep citing this example. A pregnant woman, when she's about to deliver, she had issue when it comes to labor. She's the only person that would tell you the pain she passed through. Nobody will tell you that. But as soon as it's done, everybody will be happy. She will be happy once the baby and the mother are in a good health. So I think this is the process that we're passing through. We are at the point in which all of us are not happy with the pains each and every one of us is passing through. But I believe and I hope and I guarantee each and every one of the market people around that area that by the grace of God, when these things are done, it's going to be history, just like a woman that is passing through a labor stage. So it's going to be a history soon, because the development is something that had never happened in Kaduna. I think these things have been taken bit by bit. I think we would have taken it at scientific stages. But in a situation whereby everything is stagnated for years and people were being allocated temporary places, and at some point they even assume it's a certificate of occupancy title they've been owned simply because they've been there for years, in which we, the government, failed to do what is expected of us for years. So I think it's a process, and by the grace of God, we all smile.
Well, again, since we're getting updates now, what updates are there with the Yakowa Way communities on previous demolition notice?
There is nothing that is being placed in Yakowa. If you talked about Yakowa, if you talked about places like KK, you talked about places like Malalingabas, I think we've not done anything. When you talked about demolition, and you can go there today and you see the level of development that are ongoing. Are we law abiding? Are we respecting the law? I tell you that I came into this radio station, and before I stepped into the gate, the security man stopped me, asked me, where am I going? I told him I'm on appointment. And he now had to make confirmation, and my name was already by the gate before he allowed me to enter. Why wouldn't you allow the gate to be open? Everybody to just dash in, do what he feel like, and go out. It's not a system. So the city needs to be organized, the city needs to be coordinated. There must be somebody responsible for a planning that is taking place by the wherever you go to like develop a structure you want to go into. Now I keep telling people, I challenge whoever developed a structure along Patrick Yakowa or KK or Malalingabas behind trade fair. If he has any planning permission, tender it, unless if we are trying to make life difficult for anybody. But you just can't remain law-abiding and you assume we just fold our hands up. I think we'd rather leave the agency. They will close it. They will go back and do one or two things. Then we know that there is no planning authority. We sat down with these people severally. We told them that we are on the process of regularization. Yesterday, I spent the whole day at a particular site in which we hope to forward a regularization program to the governor for him to approve so that we'll begin implementation, just like other places we've done. The first regularization package, in which is that of the Patrick Babansawara and the Kaji Aziz, was just approved by His Excellency last week. And the design that was being done there in which I've told you the last time I came here, that we even use the drone so that we'll be able to update the recent development that is happening there. We did that, we planned it, and suddenly, before even the governor approves this thing, after a couple of months, we had a mutual agreement with these people, and the next thing, those people went back and keep developing. Maybe there is a road that is going to pass through your house, you don't know. Maybe it's a market, maybe it's a cemetery, maybe it's a hospital, maybe it's a public use, maybe it's a refuse dump. Based on the plan we did, at the time we went there to do the planning. But the same people that we agreed based on gentleman agreement, don't go there to develop, we won't go there and demolish. We have a mutual understanding. Once this layout has been done, then we looked at how to regularize it, start the implementation. Yes, they went back and developed. Do you want us to fold our hands? I think a step needs to be taken, and that is what we are doing. We passed the demolition notice. They came to my office. I told them I'm not going to see them because I thought they are responsible. They came with a lot of respected civil servants, primary school teachers, secondary school teachers, lecturers, religious leaders, and we had a mutual discussion with them about 4 or 5 times with them. And I told them that, you see, I respect whoever respected the agreement that we have with him. If you fail to take your own part, to do your own part, then I have no business with you. I didn't have that meeting with them. It was our director, the management that did the discussion with them. I told them I wouldn't have any discussion with them. But whatever the management agreed upon, I will abide by that. And I think they had a mutual discussion in which all of them had responsibility to play. Each and everyone has a role to play. If they do that, we do our own part, then all of us will smile. All of us will be happy at the end of the day.
The Sex Party demolished building. Everyone is talking about it. That it happened. It took a lot of people by surprise. The Sex Party never, took place, and yet there was demolition of that building. Clarity here on, the steps that was taken, and of course, again, having security testify in court that there was no sex party, and so one begins to wonder. The public would like to know: was it really the sex party, or was something just not right about why the place was demolished?
Thank you for that question. This is a radio station, right? It's a building that was being built for another purpose or for a radio station purpose. Was this building that you people are occupying, was it being allocated for this purpose? Was the planning permission issued for this purpose? Then if it's issued for that purpose, you have no issue to complain about. But if this building is being allocated for residential, and your building permit is for residential, and you tend to convert it, which is a contravention of the purpose, then that is your own problem. Now, if whatever purpose you're being granted for, if it's a residential, and you tend to use it for another purpose without securing any permit, then I think you are the one that is joking with your investment. So it's left for you to know that there is roles for us to play in whatever we do in life, because we have rules that guide whatever we do in our existence and in our activity, either by the Constitution or by whatever. So I think it's for whoever to look at whether they have it or they don't. So I cite an example with wherever I go, I said, does your purpose, or whoever hears this program, does his purpose or does his building has the permit, has a certificate of occupancy that is being leased for him over a period of time, for him to use it legally, then you have no cost for Allah. But if he doesn't have, I think we are deceiving ourselves.
The issue was not a sex party. It was contravention of rules and how Kasubda had laid out his plans for that.
I've already told you what happened. It's for you to sit down and look at if your house that you have been occupying, does you have that permit? Then I know a greater number of people will start wondering in their mind, then I'm in trouble. Kokuma, no, I have it, I have no problem. So it's for all of us that resides in Kaduna. Do all of us have building permits that secures that property? Had a money that we try to develop for our life savings? Or does we just feel like we just be lawless? That is it for. I've already given you my answer. Next question.
I still want to, just dwell, still stay on. Because right now, from what I'm gathering from you is that there were, what Kasubda had laid down were not followed, and of course that led to it. But the wider picture of it, that it was a sex party that led to the demolition, and people were just wondering that was notice given, and weeks notice, or how many weeks notice, and property was raised down.
Okay, you see, one good thing about this is I want you to understand is, if your radio station has a permit and has a statutory title and updated ground rent, the building permit for that purpose, without any contravention, if you do whatever you want to do. But along the line, if you tend to do what is contravening the purpose or the activity within such area, in which your neighbors or people around this area started complaining of the activity that has been taking place in this area, then that is where the problem comes from. Now, along the line, there is a public service on wheels that was introduced for people that had not been able to obtain either planning permission, whether by any way. That we have this public service on wheels that go to each and every house, doorstep, and knock. Now, if you have your permit, and the permit is for this purpose, while you end up having another purpose, now the issue is you'll be able to, our notice is trying to tell you that, look, you've contravened the purpose in which you are given. Now you are given some period, some days for you to revert back to that, in which 95% of people in Kaduna have done a lot in that angle, and nobody knows. And that is why you have one issue that you don't have any problem on your head, or you don't have any issue to discuss. You keep bringing the issue back to discuss. But if you'll be able to go to the entire Kaduna State and make an investigation journalism, and you ask a lot of people, they will tell you that, yes, we are doing this, but they issue us the notice, and we quickly write to them that we want this to be changed, simply because we have a permit. But in a situation where you cease to exist, how do I have any business with you?
We're talking about urban planning and development.
Yes.
The developer in this. You've mapped out an area, you've given out your plan, for development, and the developer does not, tell the buyer or whoever that he's changed his plan about what Kasubda earlier gave out. Now, a demolition notice is given, and people have invested so much in owning that property. What is there to be done? Can the developer come back to Kasubda to say that I want to have a change of plans, or what has to be done in order to save people's investment?
I think I've done a lot. Even this morning, I've treated more than 20-something number of files that comes from people with the same problem. I have a land, a residential, and I see potential in having a hotel there, or I see potential in building a school there, because it's missing. Because whatever you do there is a reason. You've seen a business opportunity. Now, what we do there is, okay, apply. We now looked at this standard for whatever you do. What kind of activity are you going to do there? Is it a school? Then what are the requirements that needs to meet? If you meet that requirements, then you'll be able to have an approval to do the school there. Now, if he applied, and we looked at it, and we noticed that it's not up to the standard that has been expected. There are certain requirements that are going to be missed. As such, he needs to provide a parking space, rather than parents coming in the morning to start parking by the road shoulder, creating another traffic problem. You understand? It's creating another traffic problem for the people that reside within that area, which they have right to go out at any time they want to go out. Either I'm in a hurry to go to the office, and suddenly my neighbor has a land which was converted to school, and a lot of traffic has been created in the morning at the peak hour. And it's like take 5 or 6 of my minutes, which is a problem to me. Now, we now looked at certain options that we're going to put on table. Is there any adjoining land by the right or by the left that you can acquire? That is one. Is there a way that you are going to narrow the activity of the school to just remain maybe nursery school or primary school? Maybe you intend to have both secondary school. Is there a way we are going to make recommendation to Kaduna Investment Promotion Agency, so that if there is any available land within that area being owned by the government, to be allocated, in which you know that Kaduna State is number 1 in ease of doing business in Nigeria. Now we have this Kadifa purposely to support people, whether you are going to do. I've done a lot on that. People wants to apply for, even this morning, if somebody wants to apply for a fabricated company at Konungora, I told them no. The location is either for institutional or for hospitality, the land you have there, because it's been sandwiched with residential development. However, we have a green agro-allied industrial zone next to Olam, in which it's been developed. As such, there is OCP fertilizer there is Endoroma factory there. We have Peugeot Automobile, Dangote Peugeot Automobile being developed there, which in the next few months is going to be developed, is going to be commissioned either by the president, and that project is going to have a Peugeot manufacturing company, not assembling but manufacturing. It's a joint venture with Kaduna State, Peugeot Automobile and Dangote. Now, what I'm saying is, those people will now say, okay, let's take me there. I now send some of my staff to go and take him to the area so that you have a mental picture of what we are going to do there. And the reason why we create the Green Agro-Allied Industrial Zone is to alleviate the problem people find themselves in which areas like in Kudenden, I've told you the last time, areas like NMPC behind Indomie, areas like Abuja Junction behind Dagazo Carpet, people converted completely to residential developments. So a lot of places like that have been designed for industrial areas, we now come up with that one, and we are looking for options in a way that we are going to present into the Executive Council for them to understand that, okay, the allottees, rather than clearing all the structure, as long as they don't have any negative planning implication in terms of health hazard to the developments that have already taken place illegally by people for residential rather than industrial. Let's move those industrial activity to the Olam axis so that we'll be able to accommodate those residential. Nobody knows that. Nobody knows the number of structures we are trying to preserve there. But single structure you clear, a lot of people will keep making noise. And that is why I said Nigeria, particularly us, we are in trouble. Everybody, you see young boys, intelligent souls. That's why the fact there is no availability of job. Can't you get yourself busy in other things? You are there wasting the whole day on social media. I feel sorry for all of us. I feel sorry for the youth generation where I spend the whole day thinking of what I'm going to produce. I don't even have time to look at the social media because I think I have a responsibility to play in making our state or the community grow better than what I met it. I look at our young boys at 30, at 20 something, he doesn't have time to look up onto. I don't expect myself to be even working in the civil service or in the whatever. My direction was to be in the business cadre because I think I have the ability to do what I can do my own part. But destiny keep moving me towards this direction. So if you ask, more than 90% of the young youth will tell you, no, I'm here because I'm waiting for a job. Can't you start something? Can't you be industrious? Can't you be entrepreneur? Start something, no matter how small. Go and ask Dangote to tell you what did he start with? Did he start with millions of naira? So we take it bit by bit. Then you have a direction to take. Then along the line, along the road, you have somebody that will support you, which God is going to send it to you. But the direction in which we are going, I think we are in a situation whereby it's only God that will help us. Now back to the discussion in which you made, the observation, the issue you brought for somebody that has that issue. I've answered the question because we are regularizing 95% of the issues that come before us, and people, and this Barna, I want you to do this. I have given you this text. Go and make investigative journalism on 95% of the hotels or schools or shopping centers or any activity that is within the Kaduna metropolitan city. A good example is, since you are located in Barna, ask the hotels close to you. Ask them, do they have the permit? 80% will tell you, I applied, I paid premium, I paid registration fee, and I was allowed. Who allowed you? You paid bribes so that you'll be allowed to develop that hotel, simply because when they looked at the technical angle, the architects or the engineers or the planners will tell you, you can't have a hotel here. Or you can't have the number of structures you are building. It's overbuilt, in which there is no provision for a parking space or other activities or green area or this or that or open space. Then you say, look, I have to do this thing because I have the money and I don't want to waste it. It's understandable, but do the right thing. Now you now said, okay, I'll give you, take this, buy water. Allow, just close your eyes, forget me, I will continue my development. Then you just do your own as if you don't see anything happening. Yet you are deceiving yourself, because after 2, 3, 5, 10, 20, 30 years, if whatever is going to happen, that person you gave bribe had already retired in the service. Or even if he's in existence, he doesn't have any proof to tell you that, yes, I've given you receipt on the bribe, or you put it in my account. You gave him cash. Because he's smart enough to not to collect it either by transfer or whatever. Then he said, I don't know you. Then you are all alone. All alone. All alone. And that is the problem I met. Somebody will come, looked straight into my eye and said, okay, sir, please, I'm going to, please, is there a way we settle this? I said, we can settle it. Meet the directors, They are responsible for that. Whatever recommendation they do, I'm going to approve it. But if they tend to do whatever, and along the line something popped up, it's their hand that is going to be in that soup. But I guarantee you, whatever they recommend, I'm going to do. But don't think of we are coming here to play with us for whatever. But I guarantee you, as long as there is a way in, there's a way out. We must look at a way out so that we find a lasting solution, but you are going to pay penalty. You are going to pay penalty. However, nobody expecting you to give him bribe in that office. If you have anybody that asks you bribe, write to the governor. He have no reason to remain in Kasubda. Let him be pulled out, and let's get people that will serve the community or the society or the people in Kaduna. But you have to pay penalty, in which that penalty you're going to have pain in paying that penalty. Oh God, why? Now the next person that is either your friend or your neighbor is developed. Say, call the you pay tomorrow money, you pay penalty. It's going to take you part of the money you are going to do tithes. You end up doing fraud. Then you hold on, then you apply. So the penalty is like telling somebody not to do the wrong thing. Do the right thing. Apply to our office. If we don't give you your permit over a period of time, when stipulated, as agreed upon, you have the right to write to the governor, not to me. Complaint that you apply to Kasubda, and we apply over your intelligence. We must have something to say that we either, this is the reason why we didn't do this, and we've communicated to you. There are queries in your design or whatever. But we can't sit down on your file waiting for you to come and give us something before after all, we know you have money in your account. That without us issuing that permit, the cement, the tiles, the building material will keep skyrocketing going up. So at least we have a role to play for us to ease our brothers and sisters in whatever they do in Kaduna. Because we are all the same, we are all part of each other. Thank you.
So many questions popping up here, and that's from the Director General from his statement here. I have lines of questions, that I really must, put forward here, but we have to go for a commercial break. Be back with you shortly. Welcome back. It's the program Perspectives this morning, coming to you on Invicta 98.9. And we are with Kaduna State Urban Planning Development Authority, Kasubda, and the DG, Smaila Umar Dikko, the DG, with us here in the studios, and getting some information, enlightenment too, about activities of this agency. DG, again, why are people still falling prey of buying, land wherever, land said to be, of inheritance and all of that, and not getting clearance, from the authority? People are still falling prey to this, and of course, years later they suffer, what other people have suffered in terms of demolition and all of that.
Well, I think it's maybe part of us. We like to buy cheap things. If I now said I have this handset for 10 naira, and the next person close to me now brings a bell and start ringing for buy one, get one free, you will see the number of people that will go there. So naturally, it's two things. It takes two to tango. Now, I cited this example always whenever I find myself to explain relating to planning. What I've noticed over the years is for 70 years, the old existing GRA of Kaduna was planned by the white men, and all documents being presented, it was the northern region before it moved back to Kaduna State. And from there, you have Kaduna Land title, which is the old CFO. And then 35 to 40 years back, when the new areas were being planned as such by the Kaduna local government and Kacha local government, all areas within Amadou Bello Way, I keep citing this example, Daura Road, Kigo Road, and up to Sungwan Sunusi, Tudunwada, Barnawa, Sabon Tasha. You see that most of the document they present is the old local government CEO for one paper, one single paper. And it's telling you that for 80 years, the city has been planned. For 80 years, the city has ownership by the statutory title. And it's only government that issue documents. Now, after that, the local government began, and it turns out to be more or less a mess when the local government started having duplication of CO4 and all of that. Now, it was stopped, I think, in 1978, 1986. The CFOs by local government were stopped completely within the urban metropolitan city, any city capital. If you go to Zaria, the capital of Zaria, if you go to Kafancha, if you go to Benungwari, the capital, there are certain radios that have been taken in which the local government chairman can never issue any statutory title. But within Kaduna North, Kaduna South, that had already been consumed, and they are already consumed by the metropolitan city, and part of Igabi with Chukun. Those areas, local government chairman had no issue to issue any document. But farther away, going towards Turunku, going towards Zaria Turunku, away from the metropolitan city, you're going towards Kachia, going towards Kaduna Abuja Expressway, under the Chukun local government. The chairman, there are certain areas he can issue COFOs, not within the metropolitan city. Now, do you understand what I'm saying? Now, the whole metropolitan city, which is the heart of Kaduna, local government chairman have no right to issue COFO. Now, another village head or a district head that had never done that 80 years back, you can imagine the rationale. Had never done that 80 years back when things are working right. Now, in early 90s, when politics become the order of the day, I can do whatever. They'll say, if you touch the village head, he has vote to give. It's going to be a problem for us. Then village head, district head started percolating plots the way they want, regardless of whether that area had been planned for or whatever. And the funny thing is, I keep saying this, if the city was abused like this 70 years back, do you think we have places to come and talked about? I have Central Market, I have Murtala Square, I have hospitals, I have organized city like the main GRA of Kaduna that has been expanded, and everybody is saying, wow, Kaduna is growing. Do you think we have the Chalawa axis? No. Do you think we have the areas from Kunami now up to Kakuri? Do you think we have the Pijo Automobile where the Coca-Cola is? We wouldn't. And those areas were planned, I'm telling you, 60, 70, 80 years back. Now somebody will just jump in and say, it's my great-grandfather for farmland. He will subdivide it. But the actual value of the land could go for 3 million. But he will now tell you to give him 400,000 or 500,000. Now you will be enticed because you like chieftains, simply because I've cited an example with 2 phones, one free, one. Now, you will now go there. I will now take 10 plots for 4 million. Along the line, you can even tell him that I will pay 3 million. You say, okay, give me the 3 million. But it's because of you. It's because you resemble one of my cousins. He's pulling you because he knows that government is going to take back that land and pay him compensation on the unexisted improvement, simply because the land belongs to the government. But it was being given to him to hold in trust and give people to farm before, when the development reaches that stage, then that reaches that area, there will be, like, the plan that was being designed will be implemented in phases. Then you now buy the land and you now start development. You go to Kaduna. Nobody will tell you that he can issue you COFO. If you have the right person that is right for the moment, he will tell you that you can't have planning permission or COFO. Then you'll be angry with him because he didn't tell you what you want to hear. Then you look for somebody that is of the same direction with you. He will tell you to give him 200,000 or 300,000 or 500,000 or whatever. He will start the process. He will do the analysis. He will buy the form for you. He will do whatever. And equally, you are right to apply. Just like any other citizen have the right to apply for whatever NDA, you have the right to apply for NDA. But you have no right to put uniform of army and go out and say, I've applied. I'm waiting for admission. Until you have been screened and confirmed that you are admitted based on certain requirements or criteria. Then the moment you apply for Kasubda building permit and Kajes UFO, then you take the acknowledgement, which anybody have the right to apply for that with that acknowledgement. With our acknowledgement, then you write the file number on the wall, then you start developing that plot, in which that is your hard-earned money, gambling with it. So I think the problem is two of us, the Meungwa and the person that like to buy the cheap things. Now I'm going to build a house worth 10 million. I bought the plot worth 500,000. Oh, can you imagine the rationale? Can't I go for a plot that is worth 3 million or 2.5, where it's free from problem? Then I'll build a house worth 6 million or 5 million. So that 6 million is secured, rather than me going for a plot of 300 or 500 or 1 million. And I'll build a house worth 8 or 10 million. It's better for me to go for the right place with a higher amount, simply because it's guaranteed. Then I'll build an average house, which my money can afford. Then I'll hope for future build a more bigger house when the money comes in. But the amount of money I have at that point in time, let me do what is for me to save my children and wife from trauma. I don't care about anybody that is either if you're a man, if you go for that, it's your own choice. But the pain is the young boys, the young girls, the kids that you see crying. And the woman that is happy now we have a roof over her head, but her husband messed it up and built a house in an area that is completely gambled. Now, when you ask me, what am I doing with the village head? I told you that, I'll tell you that we've started dealing with them. I write letters to village head, and so far 2 of them have been, I think, suspended. I write letter. Can't just write letter to Ministry of Local Government, and they tell them that the village head is there to guide whoever comes into his domain to support him to do the right thing, but not to mislead him to fall into a problem. So if any village head feels he wants to sell a plot, and if that area is within the confine of what, let him write to the appropriate authority. We won't take 1 plot from his plots. I guarantee you that, not because I'm here. We will never take 1 plot from his plot, as long as it was within the area that is within an existing settlement in which it's been allowed for them to take advantage. We will just take the planning as it is on the master plan and give it back to them. Let them sell it whatever they want to sell. But because they know part of it is going to be provided for a cemetery or for a market, and the road width we are going to do could be 12, 15, 20 meters. While theirs is just going to be 3 or 5 or 7 meters in order to get more plots. So they prefer to do it themselves. And once they do that, and we find out that they've started selling, we write to Minister of Local Government, they will invite it. And as long as I see any confirmation letter that is get presented within an area that he has no business with in the urban setting, I forward it to the Ministry of Local Government, and they will call him. If he does that, it's an offense. He will be removed and get somebody that will serve the entire generation and the society with all honesty.
Okay, I need you quickly, because I know that the phones will just be ringing now. There are so many questions. The process of getting, a building plan approved, it goes through Kajis and Kasubda. How do we follow the steps?
Okay, you see, people don't understand that it's a simple logic. You are expected to, like before you applied for a university to get admission, you have your WAEC result. Now, if you have your WAEC result, that's what qualifies you to have that admission and whatever with the JAM, with all the other documents. Now, if you don't have that certificate of occupancy from the beginning, because that certificate of occupancy is what qualifies you to be the landowner, the owner of that land. Now, when somebody comes in with a document, either a deed of assignment or a transfer document or a lease from Mr. A to Mr. B, or confirmation letter, as I've said earlier, from the village head, we are not expected to even entertain his application. He ought to go to Kajis, put up an application, obtain his CFO, then he will now put it with a part of the requirement for him to submit to Kasubda. That is one thing people fail to understand. It's that what qualifies you to be the landowner, so that we'll give you the permit. You are building on the land. Let's know that you secured the ownership. That is one. Now, 2 is, the drawings you are going to do must be in accordance with the standard, the specification of the architectural council or whatever, not mine. Now, if you end up, you want to do a radio station, you would maybe, or a shopping center, you would want to take the whole place into shops because you want to have the more the shops, the more the merrier, the more the whatever. Now, I'm looking for more shops, but mindful of our own angle is, where is the parking space? By standard, there are a certain number of shops per square meter to a number of parking space per square meter, depending on number of shops, commensurate with the parking space. So now, if you don't make that provision, it's going to take time in our office to process, because we have to make a query, make a case, send it back to you. That is 2. Then you have to submit all the necessary documents that are expected of you, such as a mechanical, structural, electrical, and what have you. Environmental impact assessment, if it's a big project, has to be inclusive. Now, when you apply for the permit in our office, if it's a shopping center, it has to have a commercial purpose with the use in bracket attached. If it's a filling station, it has to be a filling station. If it's a gas plant, it has to be a petrol filling station and LPG gas plant in bracket. So somebody would have a filling station. I would want to do a gas plant. There are requirements to meet before you apply for that. Now you come to my office, I apply like that. I say, no, you have to present the additional use, because it was a filling station that was being issued, and that is why we gave you for filling station alone. Now you see that there's opportunity in Gaspla. Put up an application, then the council will process and forward to the governor if no any problem, so that he will approve it, and we will now be able to issue a permit. So you can't expect us to give you permit for certain use, in which when the change of purpose reaches to the highest authority, the purpose will be declined simply because of one or two reasons. Now, much later, when you come and say, I should have given me approval. Why would I give you approval when you don't have the required requirements that is expected of you? So you have to have those things. They will now submit to our office. Then there is already an e-process platform. You can apply online. You submit your digital, your soft copy with all the scanned documents. You can also submit it online through our website. Now, if you're going to submit it through a hard copy, you can do that. But what we do is we go for inspection ourselves. There is no need for you to come. You write that you are expected to come to Kasubda, pick a step, go for site inspection, start gisting, start playing with each other so that the decision can be compromised. No, we take our car, we inspect the site, we come back, we write our report, we send it to the OSS before if it goes to the town planning department at the beginning when it comes back for site inspection, the town planner will now write a query. You have to submit this. Then it will be the letter will be written to you. You have to go and do that. Then the much later you bring it back. Then it will move to another director. Then the director will now refer to his architectural department. They will do their observation. Then it will be sent to you again. Then you come back to Kasubda and pick up that document and now apply, and now make the correction. Then it will move to engineering. You can see the process is, I just don't understand. It's cumbersome and it's delaying and it's frustrating because I have to leave my duty, my whatever I do, to keep coming to Kasubda. So at some point I had to get somebody that will be a tout that will be following up for me. Now what we did is when we come on board to Kasubda, we opened a one-stop shop package. It's a platform in which an open space, a big office like a conference room, in which everybody that has a stake in that application will be there with timeline. When it comes to the inspection team, they will be there. There is a timeline allocated for them. If it extends beyond that, you are in trouble. Then it moves to the town planning. They will do their observation. It moves to the engineering, architect. It's a round table. Now, everybody will put on his own observation. They will have one letter for you, bringing down, listing everything that is expected. If there is anything needed, with the payment you are expected to pay. Once those documents are being sent to you, there is a conveyance unit, which they will put up a phone call to you. They will text you for us to have record that it's been sent to you. Because at times when somebody claims that that thing is not being sent to him, the information, I go to them and attack them. They will now present a document on their system that we sent a text to him on so date and email. So if you have that document, we expect you to reply back to us with all the requirements. Now, if there is no any technical query, we'll process it. I will approve it. But in principle, subject to A, B, C, and D that has been observed by the one-stop shop team, they have no business with your file. They will send it to conveyance. Then it will be remain there. Anytime you feel like you want to come with the corrections, you present them. Then they will give you your permit. You will see that it was already approved in July 2020, 16th of July 2020. But it's today you are coming to claim your document. Then they will take it to, at that point in time, the conveyance has an officer that will put off the date in which that building permit will start, will be effective from 3rd of March 2021. Not July, the day I signed it, but effecting date, because there are period for the planning permission to elapse if you are expected to develop it. Is it 24 months? Is it 12 months? Is it whatever month? So whenever you come to pick your document, it's that point in time in which you have already fulfilled all the requirements expected of you. It's that point in time they will effect that effecting date in which the permit will start functioning.
Right, quickly, let's come to the audience now. It's the Director General, Kaduna State Urban Planning Development Authority, Ismaila Umaru Dikko, with us in the studios this morning. Time to take your calls on numbers 081 40,000 989, 081 40,000 989, or 070 87 800 989. 070-87-800-989. We're taking your calls now. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, our guest.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you. I'm Isimodu calling from Idimosa Mando.
Isimodu, let's hear you.
Thank you, sir. So, my question goes like this. Is it not possible for the organization of Kasubda to bring out a form that someone will come and purchase, maybe it should be 1,500 or 500 naira, to do the whole breakdown of the analysis pay and the bank draft to pay and whatsoever. Because sometimes, sorry to say, some of your staff passionately add some amount of money, most especially those site analysis amounts. Because when you go, you will be taking 10,000, somebody will say 15,000, somebody will say 25,000. So that will frustrate people. If site analysis that somebody would move within the Kaduna and collecting such big amount of money for just site analysis. So why can't you, if possible, for you to get a form that somebody will just come and take it as a form so that he will go all through as a guardian so that he knows what to pay and how to go about
it.
Okay,
we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Let me take the questions and then come to you with it. Stay with your call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
And good morning to our guest also.
Good morning, sir. I'm
Commander Gabriel, the Texas man.
Right.
The Kasuda man that is native there, in fact, he spoke very well, and sometimes forcefully. I know anything that concerns land. Because what we are saying that traditionally, this land, does it belong to somebody before the government allocates it to itself? And if not, has the government ever demarcated and said this area is non-touchable? So the traditional rulers that are now victims of this thing will be able to know which area they can be able to maybe give to people to build their houses.
Okay.
Secondly, he talks deeply about this youth going to social media. I am speaking to you now. Is he aware that most of the industry in Kaduna here, because those days if you come to Kaduna, job will be waiting for you, not you to look for job. Is he aware that mostly the Texas industry that used to employ thousands of workers are closed? If they are closed, what effort that the state doing not to take over the land, but to make sure that they are developed?
All right, yeah, all right. I will take one more and then I'll come to our guest. Hello, good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Fine, sir. Is Engineer Hussein Mohammed calling from Bara?
Okay, yes, let's hear you.
Okay, I'm having a problem. I submitted my building plan twice, and the building plan has been missing in Kasubda and in Kadix.
Okay.
Can you give me the plan number?
Hello, Hussein. Engineer Hussein, do you have the file number, offer that you can
use? Yes, sir, I have the file number.
All right, say it. Let's hear you.
Oh, but right now I'm driving.
Okay, let's come to my office and say this, Hussein, or write a short note and submit the file number to my PA.
My God, tomorrow 8 o'clock I'll be your officer.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, sir.
All right, thank you, Hussein. Yeah. All right, I'll still squeeze in one call. Just the DJ has answered that, so let me just squeeze this one, makes it number 3. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Yeah, this is Victor speaking, sir.
Let's hear you, Victor.
Your guests have spoken very well, but you were asking me a question about the demolished building during the first party building. That he did not answer it to my satisfaction. Why is it that period? It didn't happen. The demolition happened the period they said there was sex party. Why didn't they demolish it before that period? So I want him to clarify this for us.
Okay, Victor. All right.
Can I go ahead?
Yes.
I'll start with Victor. Why didn't he ask of the other demolitions we did in a lot of places that have the same issue? Why didn't he ask of that? It's a coincidence. Why didn't he ask of the other ones? Why did Victor didn't ask of the other ones? Is it the first demolition we did when we come on board to Kasubda? Why? I forgot that one. Now, the first caller from Mando is talked about. You see, that is, and I really appreciate his comment because it's like a guide to people. People don't understand that site analysis is not the responsibility of Kasubda or Kajis. It's for you to engage a consultant elsewhere from anywhere to carry out that analysis for you. It's just like you carrying out maybe a building. You have to get a builder, an architect or whatever to come and do it for you. So you are at liberty to select whoever you want to. Don't wait. And I keep saying this simply because you get our staff to do that. There will be a level of compromise along the line. And whenever I have that opportunity to see any staff that is involved on that issue, last week we have to deal with one officer in which he's not part of us anymore. So we take that seriously. We don't joke with that. We hit on whoever, because we use the opportunity of site analysis to hit on people. But the site analysis is being done by a consultant, not our staff. Our staff collects the money. He remove what he wants to put in his pocket. Then the money will be taken to the consultant that does that site analysis. So there are a lot of site analysis consultants, a registered town planner, particularly when you go to Barnawa Kaduna Polytechnics, Barnawa CEC. We have a lot of lecturers that have their own firms and consultancy service. We have them in the town all over. That is one. But we have a list of registered town planners, consultants that we have this agreement that they are doing the carrying out the service, in which just like whatever you have to have that, the consultant that carries out that by Institute of Town Planning. We can give them that numbers or their contact or their names, but we don't allow our staff to get involved. You understand what I'm saying? That is one. Now, the second caller that talked about traditional rulers, I don't know how the traditional rulers. Now, who are the traditional rulers? Are they not part of the system? And the land, who gave the traditional ruler? If he talks about the traditional ruler, claims that the land is the one that owned the land. You say he inherited from his father. Then who gave the father? You said from his great-grandfather. Who gave the great-grandfather? You said is the native authority there. The Sarki or the whoever, the emir. Now the emir is for who? Is he now sitting on behalf of the government? Who are the government? Are they not the entire community or the society or the Kaduna residents at large? They hold in trust to one person who is the governor over a period of time. So he stands for the people. Now, when we are talking of the traditional ruler or traditional leader subdividing plot and selling, who takes the money? Is he taking the money into his own pocket, or he's taking it to the treasury of the state government? That is one. Now, the problem we have is we fail to take responsibility of whatever we do, all of us. So now you can see somebody taking part of the money that was supposed to be used to construct road for all of us. Then you now say, I no problem. But I believe of this period of time, with the roads, the activity, the projects, the housing, the whatever that is being taking place, the heavy projects that the governor has been doing in Kaduna, maybe people will understand that it's our money that is being used for this. I have a stake to complain if this drainage is being done not to the standard that is needed of. Now, if any community leader sells a land, you have the right to ask him, which paper are you going to give me? If he said it's a traditional a district head confirmation letter, I tell them, okay, give him district head confirmation planning permission now. Do you understand? If you have, that is the rationale you have to understand. I said, I am going to give you confirmation that this land belongs to me as an authority. Now I will tell him to give you approval to build a house as an authority. They will know that he has the authority, or the governor is the only person that has the authority in trust for the community or the residents of Kaduna entirely. Now, the question I'm going to throw finally is, if he has that authority and he does that and he sells it, is he going to provide the road, the schools, the hospitals, the pipeline water, the security agencies that are needed around that area, or is going to allow it to remain for donkey years as a village? Thank you.
All right, DJ, I just want to quickly squeeze this one in because we're cited in an area, it's Barnawa area. You just talked about Barnawa, at the course of the program, and Barnawa is turning into a hospitality business center. You're concerned about permissions that people have to have these structures up. Are you disturbed or worried about it because permissions are not?
Well, I think we actually what I met in Barnawa, you can ask. You can ask. What I met in Barnawa is about 90% of the buildings that are done. I will refer back to the earlier discussion I did with you. But we just have to, you see, one good thing about planning is, there's this saying, they said, the doctor bury his mistake. Because if the doctor happens to make a mistake, and the patient will definitely die. But the planner will learn to live with his mistake. And we are learning to live with our mistakes. We are trying to do some panel beating, touches here and there. Okay, are you going to remove the ground floor and make it parking space so that people, just like what is happening in the Oyinbo land, you park inside so that you take off the on-street parking on the road. People can take advantage and go freely. That is one. Now, two, there's a large chunk of land in Barnawa that personally we are dealing with wherever it's involved, so that we'll see how to create Because you see, what happened was Barna was underestimated at the beginning, I think, and it has a lot of potential. I want to harness that potential to make it grow more than, because when you see opportunity, grab it and take it to the best of level of which everybody is going to enjoy. So we have some land in Barna that we're working on, coming out with a city plan. We want to create a city center, just like the likes of Mogadishu and the Central Market Access. We are hoping to have another city center within that area. Open spaces for playground, open space for recreational, big size of land for hotels. And if God's willing, we're able to have that set and approved in this administration, there's a very big road that is going to connect with the new roads that are being built, and Varna is going to change. And what we intend to do is, if God permits us to, we are going to create a package that is going to be implemented in Kaduna soon in some of the places the roads are taking place. We are going to introduce an accelerated development program. Anybody that comes from anywhere, because what we do here, we entertain people that come with money, not people that live in Kaduna or people that claim we are the ones that have Kaduna. Nobody have Kaduna. It's all of us that have Kaduna. Anybody that have money will be treated like a king in Kaduna, for him to invest his money in Kaduna, for us to have the answer. One of the caller made mention that a lot of youths have no work, and that is what we are doing. As such, that is why we have the Olam, that is why we have the tomato juice, and that is why we have a lot of industries that are reviving. You don't know how the governor will go back to those people, convince them to come down to Kaduna. We have problem in this area, even in Kudanda. We waived out ground rent, we waived out building permit, we waived out penalty, we waived out a lot of things for them to be able to be enticed to come to Kaduna and invest. As such, we have like Blue Camel, we have the Indoroma, the Mahindra tractor assembling close to Peugeot, the Indoroma close to Peugeot factory, and the undeveloped lands that are still within those areas. We are working on revoking them and allocating to you if you want to do that under accelerated development program. You'll be given a DLA, not certificate of occupancy. You submit your timeline for you to develop that property, in which we are going to work with that timeline you submitted. As long as you reach a certain percentage, COFO will be issued to you, not based on favor, but based on us thinking that it's an opportunity for us to have you in Kaduna to invest, in which young guys will have place to remain in Kaduna. And that's the essence of Kadipa. That's why we have the Green Agro-Allied Industrial Zone at Olam Axis. That's why we have the Olam. That's why we have the Peugeot Automobile, OCP Fertilizer, and the Roma. We have many of them that are coming on board. If not for the Corolla last year, we would have gone far. So that is what I'm saying. If we have those places ready, we'll give people in Varna or in Kaduna or outside Kaduna land to build big hotel 5-star, in which we'll be proud of.
DG, it's a delight talking to you this morning.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And that's about the size of it on Perspectives this morning. We're sharing thoughts with the Kaduna State Urban Planning Development Authority Director General, Ismaila Maruduku. And I'm sure that we all got educated on that. We'll come back with Perspectives tomorrow. Mafios, thank you for connecting me with the people. And the Voice La, thank you for being part of it this morning. Good morning.